kicking out a crazy beat.
So anyway, guys, I am here to talk about my experience, I don't say review, but my experience, my chop it up of reading Borrowed Time. This is the second book in Tracy Clark's Chicago Cass Rain-Ass Black female private investigator Cass Rain-Ass mystery series. This is the second book in that series. The first book was Broken Places, which released in 2018. Here we are in 2019 with Borrowed Time, and then in 2020 we have another book that's going to be released, and I'll put an accoutrement somewhere so we can just start whetting appetites, even though we are months and months and months away from that release. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get into what Borrowed Time is about, because it's a private investigative novel and it must have a plot or synopsis. I gotta move my leg here because I was doing too much kicking. So Borrowed Time has Cass Rain-Ass investigating the death of a wealthy Chicago socialite named Tim Ayers. Now, there's some really interesting tidbits about this character, Tim. Number one, he is terminally ill. Number two, he has been ostracized from his family due as this ostracization is a product of his life choices as well as his sexuality. But let's get this clear, those two are not synonymous. Because you identify as one thing does not mean that the other thing applies, or the life choices applies. Okay, we're getting off track here, but the end result is that he resides on this luxury boat that he has inherited from his family. His body is found in Lake Michigan, and the coroner describes or labels his death as a suicide as a product of his use of prescription drugs related to his terminal illness. However, because Tim is a socialite, he does have a slew of different friends, and one of those friends in particular is connected to Cass Rain-Ass. Now, how Cass is brought into investigating the murder of Tim Ayers comes about in the form of another character named Jung Byson. Now, Jung is a college student. He's also a closeted socialite, if you will. You'll get into that in the book. But he works as a delivery boy at this diner that resides on the same block as Cass's office. So she frequents this diner. She's very much familiar with the character Jung, and he, of course, during one of her visits, employs her to investigate the death of his friend, and Cass goes about doing so, as always, a little bit more reluctantly and not so much believing in the character of Jung. Alright, so with that out of the way, now I got to tell you what I liked about Borrowed Time and what I didn't, or what was okay. I won't say it was bad, but it was a good book, but I had a few issues. So let me see, how do we start this? Okay, so here is the number one thing that was both a good thing and a bad thing with this book. Well, first we'll start with the character of Cass, and this has to do with character and plot. I love the character of Cass. I like the fact that Cass is both an assured kind of character. She's very assured, very dogged, very strident, but she also wrestles with an unassuredness or a lack of confidence in certain areas, particularly when she's going up against some much more, I guess you could say, socio-economic figures. Although she puts up that brave face and she does what she has to do to get the answers that she needs from these characters, given, that they don't want to talk to her as an investigator as is. But I love the fact that she does address her own rationalizations and reasonings to get the answer. So she's going for what she wants to get the information. She knows she has to go. She's a very no-nonsense approach, but she does reason with the best approach. We'll keep it at that. So I like that dynamic in the character. And that, just talking about the character, almost trickles into the other aspects, both of what I loved the most and what I didn't. So here's the thing. I'm going to try to put this together really nicely. Here's the thing. Okay. The character Tim Ayers was a wealthy socialite who was ostracized from his family, committed suicide per the coroner's report, but later finds out it's a murder. And he is survived by his wealthy mother, his wealthy family, and his wealthy brother, who had pretty much domain over their trust as siblings. And he was left to this luxury boat to live out the rest of his life and paint his paintings. Now, with that bit of nugget, hardcore nugget right there, that's what all of these moving parts orbiting. There's this theme of family, this theme of what makes a family, this theme of acceptance, and this theme of friendship that's surrounding all of that. So with that being said, I feel like with this book there was a lack of what I would think would be necessary braiding of that theme toward the resolution. And not that a private investigator novel has to be, has to serve a drama, a family drama, or whatever drama that surrounds the murder. But the plot got into the way of the murder, the family drama, and the character, and most importantly, the theme. I think that had the author readdressed and really dug into some of the side characters, particularly like I said, the surviving characters of Tim being his mother, regardless of her feelings of her son, and Tim's brother, it would have been the story would have been a lot more impactful. Not to say that it wasn't, but this is just a personal opinion. Like, we only saw the mother on stage maybe once, and she was given attitude. We only saw the brother on stage once, and he was given attitude. And I was hoping that by the end of the book there would be some amendments in their thoughts about their family member who went through this traumatic experience of being murdered. And so without that, by the end of the book, it just, I don't know, I just felt like that would have been more impactful if we got into that. But I think what the author did instead, but not to say that the author totally left that theme alone, as Tim being a terminally ill character surrounded by friends who accepted him for who he was. The term of family came mostly in his friendships, particularly that of the character of Jung, who employed Cass to investigate his murder in the first place. But still, I would have loved it. I would have liked more of that. I wanted these characters, the most prominent characters of like the mother and the son of that survived Tim, they were just too static. They were just way too static. I think that a lot more work should have went into them, because without that drawing in that theme of family and how they treated him and how they needed to make amends for what happened to him and his death, without that, it just it just missed the mark there. We really needed that. I think that theme, I feel like that theme needed to be further explored. But with that being said, what the author does do instead is she does a great job of the procedural parts. The procedural parts were pretty good, were great. So even though some of the most compelling characters, even though some of the characters who should have played a much more compelling role within the book weren't given that opportunity, she did give us a nice, steady, strident plotting procedural aspect to go through. So what I mean by that is you got your core information that Cass receives, and then it branches down to her investigating and then coming into contact, interviewing different side characters that further branches the story with a lot of different, well, maybe one or two red herrings that goes about. So that is something that she did pretty well to me. But even on top of that, side characters never really play a role further than what they were designated as. So we have the shifty-eyed assassin, we have the egregious high-power boss character, villain character, and etc. They all kind of played their role, and whatever fate they were given, that's kind of what they were given by the end of the book. So the character of Cass was a very compelling character who drove the mystery. The character of Jung, the one who employed her, I think that the author did put a lot of work into him, so he was serviceable, although he got on my nerves just like he got on Cass's nerves. So he was serviceable as well. But essentially what I want to say is plot and story overrode theme. Don't get me wrong, because there was some great parts in this book as well. Sometimes a little theatrical at times, and that's kind of what was my issue with the first book. It was almost like the author was trying to strike at every trope that makes up a private investigator novel, You know, the breaking using the pick locks to break into such and such building, rifling through papers, discovering the gun in the bottom drawer. You know, all of those things were being nailed here, which is okay. You know, add a little flourish here and there. It's not really about the trope. It's about the resourcefulness of the character. Like, how does she get out of what A and B situation? So let's make that clear. Although the author did hit the tropes, the resourcefulness of the character is what definitely shined. You know, how she got out of whatever situation she was in. So that's the plus. But all in all, I did enjoy Borrowed Time. Like I said, I think that it would have had a much more powerful punch if there was the balance between addressing and actually engaging with the theme for the death of the character and then the plot. All of those things. It just needed a really healthy balance. Without that, it was just kind of one-sided. I mean, the characters just fulfilled their roles essentially. Like I said, the one shifty character, the one criminal boss character, the assassin character who we only learned of in probably about the late parts of the book, somewhere in the third act. You know, without that, it was just okay. You know, it was still a good book. We just got to get those themes down. And I don't say that themes are necessary. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not necessary. But given the setup of this murder, honey, girl, it was deep. We should have dove all the way in this mother. You feel what I'm saying? We should have dove all the way into this. You know, there should have been some investments between characters and things that was so tight and so taut that nothing could have broke it. And that's just kind of what I'm left with. Don't get me wrong, I know theme is not, you know, people say, well, it's a mystery novel, its plot should come first. Very true, but I mean, let me tell you something. I'm going to say this with assuredness now for myself. I've read enough mysteries. You know, I try to hold back and be humble, okay? I've read enough mysteries that I know that if you got a pearl, dig that pearl out, alright? It needed that theme of family that, I don't even know, but I'm just going to say it. That theme of family, after that death of that character, was so big and compelling. I felt like in my spirit that should have been further dug up and addressed. We needed, that would have took this book from a 3.5 star to a 4.5 star. If we would have got into that, it's just right there. So what am I looking forward to in the next book? Number one, I already love the character of Cass. I think she's great. Cass is great. She's a great character. What I'm hoping for, continuing on, is we need more of her. You know, we need a little bit more of what makes Cass Cass. And I think that the next book will be a good time for us, a reader ourselves, to get further into Cass's background. You know, it's been mentioned here or there, but we need to really go there now. Really go there with Cass. What I'm hoping for in the next book as well is to get rid of some of the allied characters. Let the romance go. Let the romance go, Miss Clark. Let it go. Let it go. Let Ben go. Just let it go. Let the romance go. Let it go. First of all, he's corny. He's corny. Ben is corny. It's corny. There's a way to do it, of course, but let it go. I don't think it's necessary here. It really, you know, I feel some type of way about romances anyway in mystery novels, but just, you know, stop. It's too thirsty. It's too thirsty. It's too thirsty. The overall thing of that character is just way too thirsty for me, and I need Cass to just be on. It's too thirsty, but some of the side characters, the allied characters, the friends of Cass can go. I know, for me personally, I find it annoying in a mystery novel when, you know, you have a private investigator or amateur sleuth or whatever, and then there's this other character that always has a key to his or her apartment, and they're always running in and out to deliver like some scene that's really much more of an antic that can go. But even with that said, Cass did find some resources in some of the other ally side characters. They help her find information and etc. etc. It's just, it really is kind of, to me, with this series, is all of the characters, whether they are side characters, revisited characters, or even, like I said, characters here specifically to drive the mystery, they just need a little bit more touch to make them both memorable and compelling. Without that, I feel like that they just play their role, and then that's kind of it. And they're a chop. So that, more of that. That's what I'm hoping for in the next book. It's just more characters, more character. More character. I don't know how else to put that. Because I'm not really, but another thing that I'm hoping for in the next book is for Cass to get control of her guns. Either she's going to carry the gun in her purse, or she's going to carry the gun in her ankle strap. We only need one. It's either going to be in her purse, or it's going to be on her ankle strap. Because any scene where we get to, she's going to forget one or the other. So we need to scale it down. Take it out of her purse, take it out of her ankle strap, put it in a holster, put her a jacket on, but one gun. Another thing that I hope in the next book is, well, you know what, the author actually in this book, she answered a concern that I had in the first book, because to be fair, well, I don't know if the first book that was Cass's first case, off stage. She could have had another case. I don't remember, because it's been a year since I read that book. But I always was hoping, but it was a kind of a glaring notice to me in the first book how Cass didn't have like some of the much more mundane tasks of being a private investigator. Doing the things that pays the bills, which is not often the murder investigation that a private investigator character is given. Sometimes it's like, I always suggest it was something domestic, but Cass did answer in the second book that she is not a fan of domestic cases and she does not take them, which is a plus. I'm glad I got that answer. So with that being said, the author did give us some of the little things or smaller cases that Cass does do, which she actually opens the novel doing, Open Broken Places doing, that Cass does do to pay the bills. So A1 plus. I like that. All in all, I can't wait to read the next book. I'm gonna continue to stick with this series, but we're gonna have some fun. I think, like I said, the big thing we're missing here is character. It's all about the characters. They're playing their roles, but they're not impactful as I would hope they would be. And that's just my thought. Those are just my thoughts, okay? So anyway, that's it, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Go read these books. They are still good books. They're still good. I'm telling you, they're still good books. But listen, I'm a loyalist, okay? I got it. I love Cass. If anything, Cass is the one that's selling this series out.